Okay, so mahalo for attending this virtual beneficiary consultation meeting to discuss potential community-based renewable energy projects on the island of Molokai. This meeting will be recorded, and before we get started, we're going to go through a couple housekeeping slides. Next slide. So as Chair Ayla had mentioned, this is new for the department, and I'm new for you as well, probably. So we just want to go over a couple of these slides to keep so that you have some familiarity with how to interact with this program. So when you enter a Teams meeting, this is the screen you will see. What is most important is the main toolbar at the bottom. Next slide. Focusing on the toolbar, we'll go over the controls that you will use in the meeting. First is the mute button. All microphones should be on mute unless you would like to talk. This is to allow people to hear better, as there could be potential background noise that might make it inaudible for people to hear. So the mute toolbar is that microphone looking symbol at the bottom of your screen. If you don't see it under the bottom of your screen, you might want to try the More Options toolbar, which is the 3 dots. Another important icon that we'll be utilizing a lot during this meeting is the chat function. The chat icon opens a chat box that allows you to type in your question or comments at any time. We'll try to answer your questions, but if we don't get to them tonight, we will cover them in the meeting notes document that will be posted on the web page, the same web page that you folks accessed to use to get to this meeting. So the chat box icon looks like a little balloon with those 2 lines. The third icon that we will be using tonight is the raise hand icon. Click on this icon if you want to speak. When the facilitator recognizes you, you can unmute your microphone and ask your question or make your comment. For the people who have called in from your cell phone who cannot submit questions via the chat box, at the end of the presentation, you will be given an opportunity to ask your questions, and we will call on your phone number at that time. Next slide. So we sent out about 900 invitations to this meeting to DHHL beneficiaries on Molokai, both lessees and applicants on the wait list who reside on Molokai. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to learn about Hawaiian Electric's community-based HECO program. We want to explore if it's a good fit for a site on the island. HECO is initiating a new community-based renewable energy program. DHHL has a fiduciary responsibility to explore all options. We have asked representatives from HECO to explain their new community-based renewable energy program. It's something new, and the more information we have about that, the more informed decisions we can make. We want to explain briefly why the department is getting involved in renewable energy on the island and talk a little bit about the proposed site. We'll save the bulk of the meeting for discussion. We can answer questions, and we're interested in your thoughts about the site and ideas on potential benefits this potential project could provide for the Homestead community. Next slide. So our agenda is broken into 2 main parts. The first part will be a presentation that provides information. And the second part of the meeting will be an opportunity for you to ask questions and to make comments. We are particularly interested in your thoughts about the parcel and potential community benefits. To kick off the discussion, we'll do a quick review of our regional plan priority projects, which were identified in 2019. We want to know if the projects if they are important to you. So with that, I will pass it on to Julie.
Oh, wow. Mahalo, Andrew. Thank you for those for handling the introduction of this. My name is Julie Cachola. I work in the planning office. Been there for the past 17 years, I think. It's a long time. And one of my Kuleana areas is renewable energy. So when we talk about renewable energy and DHHL, people are always wondering, what is DHHL doing with renewable energy? Why are we interested in that? Um, and first of all, an energy policy that was passed by the commission. It's called Ho'omaluo. And right at the onset, it says Native Hawaiians should lead the efforts in energy self-sufficiency for Hawaii, that we should be involved in a major way, that we should work with others in the community to kind of lead this effort. It goes on to explain all the different ways that we can get involved in renewable energy development. Like, for instance, when we build houses, we could have solar water heaters or solar panel, PV panels. And there's so many different applications of renewable energy. But one of the things it does identify is that we have lands that also have renewable energy resources, and that we should look at using the resources and kind of looking at options on our land. Another reason why we are interested in renewable energy development is because in 2015, Governor Ige signed into law the requirement that utilities have to produce 100% of their electricity, 100% of their electricity sales from renewable energy resources by the year 2045. This is a major thing, 100%. We're the first in the nation to do this. It effectively creates a need and demand for renewable energy. It's a commitment, and it's law. So it was a major change in direction, and it's one of the reasons why we pay attention to it. The other thing is, renewable energy on Hawaiian homelands can generate revenue for us to develop new homesteads, but it also can generate community benefits that go directly to to the homestead community that's nearby. So there's all kind of ways that we can benefit from it, and why we're interested in it. So benefits for the homestead community and the DHHL trust, it's, we could potentially lower our electric bills through various programs, applications. So we can take advantage of that. Homesteaders can take advantage of that. The department can look at reducing costs for example, for running our water system on Molokai, right? We could look at reducing costs of that. Again, lot development, and we were involved in the Molokai Regional Plan Priority projects, and that's a list of projects that have been vetted by the community, that went through this rigorous planning process. And when we're looking at community benefits, we could take that list out and look first at the list that we've developed and say, hey, maybe we can look at implementing some of our regional plan priority projects. So there's all these reasons why we're looking at renewable energy development. Just to remind you folks, if you weren't involved in the 2018-2019 process that developed the Molokai list of potential projects, as you might recall, we ended with the 5 top projects that were voted on: the Ualapu'e Kuleana Homestead Project, the Ho'olehuahale Improvements Project. There was a water rate assessment project, and shared water farm equipment for agricultural lessees, and road improvements. So this is like just to remind you that we had this list of the regional plan priority projects that we could look at maybe implementing. So we're always trying to pay attention to renewable energy, what's happening. And tonight, I'm so happy that thankful that Hawaiian Electric agreed to help us out with this meeting, because they're going to be energy, and they're here to share with us that information so we can, learn about it. I'm going to introduce Mahina Martin. She's going to introduce the rest of her team. Mahina Martin is the Director of Community and Government Relations for the island of Molokai, Maui, Lanai. But most of you will remember that she was a Hawaiian Homes Commissioner.
Oh.
And so she's very well, knows our the situation with the department and our homesteaders. I'm just so thankful that she and her team agreed to help us out tonight. So thank you, Mahina.
Oh, mahalo, Julie. Just a sound check. You can hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Well, aloha, everybody. And again, mahalo, Julie, for that introduction. I'm here on Maui. These are strange pandemic times. You all know normally we like to come to Molokai and talk story and share information. But, as she mentioned, I'm with Hawaiian Electric's Community Relations and Government Affairs Department. And first off, I want to give our aloha to Commissioner Helm. Mahalo for their pule. Councilmember Rollins Fernandez and Chair Ayla. The aloha we have from your department staff has been very warm and welcoming, and we really appreciate that. And mahalo especially to all of you who are taking time tonight to spend your evening with us. I know a lot goes on at home, especially during these pandemic times. So mahalo you for that. And if you're enjoying dinner, please enjoy and participate in the Q&A session. Joining me tonight from Hawaiian Electric on Oahu, you'll hear from Mark Wong. Mark is our Manager of Energy Programs, including a program you'll hear more about tonight called Community-Based Renewable Energy. You'll also get to meet Ka'iolani Shinsato. Ka'iolani is Director of Customer Energy Programs for Hawaiian Electric, and our Manager of Energy Procurement is here with us also this evening, Greg Shimokawa. And Rebecca Dehoff Matsushima is able to join us as well. She's our Director of Renewable Acquisitions. Some of you may have met Rebecca. She's been on island joining me at community meetings, talking a little bit more about renewable energy projects in the future for our different islands. So tonight, we're going to be able to share a little bit more information about community-based renewable energy, that particular program. And as we've said for many times, Hawaiian Electric has been moving towards more renewable energy to produce the amount of electricity that every island needs, but producing it for the needs of that particular island. So this is one of those projects. Like DHHL and Julie has said, the possibility of any program having benefits for beneficiaries is good to bring out to the community and kind of discuss a little bit, go over the information and answer any questions. Moving forward on renewable energy, whether it's Molokai through this program or any island, anywhere, it does help to reduce our carbon footprint. It truly reduces our reliance on fossil fuel and produce electricity in a way that we can use natural resources here locally. We're not subject to volatile fuel prices going up and down. I know all of you can experience that regularly there on Molokai. So we can see also that Molokai has had a consistent interest in energy and a desire for a future of clean energy. We've seen over the years the work of Aialoha Molokai, Sustainable Molokai also in 2014 did an energy assessment for the island. That organization, grassroots, continues to do that work, more so now in a new program called the Clean Energy Hui. So we're very happy to support all of those efforts, including the STEM programs that's going on at our Molokai schools. Your students are doing phenomenal, excellent, and very extraordinary work in STEM. So I feel really good about our next generation coming out in this world of technology and renewable energy. And many of you know, in 2017, we had been on island spending a lot of time learning from residents and businesses about what renewable energy looks like from the perspectives of you all there on Molokai. We recently issued a request for proposals based on those comments and discussions and dialogues. We learned a lot from those different stakeholder roundtable sessions. We took all of it, as many of you might remember. We had over 400, I think close to 450 comments. We shared all of that with our Renewable Acquisitions Department, which is Rebecca's department. And essentially, they were able to take that feedback from the community, compile it into an addendum that was then attached to a request for proposals to help any developer in the future coming forward that wants to do business on Molokai. We thought we'd help them, learn some things ahead of time. We get asked often, why aren't developers here locally? Why are so many of them coming from the mainland? And quite frankly, many of the large-scale projects, because of the amount of energy we need to produce requiring large-scale projects, come from experienced developers and companies elsewhere outside of the state. But we've consistently asked and said and sought out and encouraged communities to find developers that they like to work with, so that there can be a true partnership. So part of our efforts of bringing all of this different programs and all that will be the community-based renewable energy program. It's a proposed program. It's still pending approval by our Public Utilities Commission. You can hear us call them PUC often throughout our discussions. It's also known as community solar. And we do use a request for proposals process to offer this opportunity across the 5 islands we serve. And the key part that I want to let you know about the request for proposals is our company requires all proposers, all developers to include community relations, community engagement efforts, because we really do understand that we need to have that community dialogue. So do they. So we ask that, and actually it's required for all submittals, any proposals coming our way for projects. We're going to proceed with our presentation tonight. We appreciate again the department considering our program and all the potential possibilities. And as always, we're interested in the community dialogue. We value your mana'o and equally value the discussion in any of the programs and things that we plan and work on. We'll be able to take questions during the discussion portion of tonight. So go ahead and jot down your questions. Our team is here tonight to answer the best way we can. And you can learn more from our website, hawaiianelectric.com, anytime in the future as well. So I'm going to turn this over to Mark Wong, who's going to go through the program. And again, please be prepared to ask us any questions at the end. Mark, I'm going to turn it over to you. Mahalo, Julie.
Great, thank you, Mahina. Hopefully you can hear me and see me. My name is Mark Wong. As Mahina mentioned, I work for Hawaiian Electric in our customer energy resources area, and I manage an awesome group of program managers in an area called community and commercial programs. And community-based renewable energy is one of those programs that we administer. And as Mahina mentioned, we're seeking approval from our regulators for phase 2 of this program. So we're very excited to share the opportunity with you folks, and I'm thankful for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands for giving us the opportunity to describe our program. Julie, if you could proceed to the next slide, please. And I realize that some folks are new to community-based renewable energy. So I'm here to provide a high-level view to explain the basics of how it works. So there's really 3 main parties in community-based renewable energy. And really the reason we want to have this program is because it enables folks who live in a condo or don't have access to rooftop solar to benefit from community or from solar energy savings. And community-based renewable energy, includes many different technologies, such as solar and batteries. So one of the main groups that we need to make this work is what we call subscriber organizations. And subscriber organizations are companies, nonprofits, or other entities who decide to develop a large-scale solar facility on their island. This can be sited on open land, or it could be on top of a business, or it could be on top of a parking structure. And what they would do is they would build this facility, and then they would distribute the energy from that facility out to the electric grid. So Julie, if you could proceed to the next slide, we should see an animation here. And on the, what this is showing is now we have this subscriber organization and they have their facility, and we'll introduce the next group is what we call subscribers. And subscribers can be anyone who has an electric account. It can be a residential customer. It could be me, you know, in my home. It could be a commercial business. That's sort of illustrated here in a diagram. And what they do is they would buy an interest in the subscriber organization's project. So it's really important that the relationship in community solar is strictly between the subscribers and the subscriber organizations. They sign an agreement to purchase, for example, you know, a portion of the facility. You could sell it in terms of panels. So I want to buy 5 panels in this project, and the subscriber organization would sign an agreement with that subscriber. Julie, if you could progress to the next slide, please. So the facility produces electricity, and that goes to the utility's electric grid, and that electricity goes to everyone on the island of Molokai. And what happens is the utility will track how much power is coming out of there, and the utility really in the program in the third role acts as an administrator. So we sign up these subscriber organizations, and we have an online portal that allows subscriber organizations to tell us how much of the portion of their electricity goes to their subscribers. And so what Hawaiian Electric does is we provide a bill credit, and that bill credit is calculated from your portion of your subscription. And Julie, if you could progress to the next slide. I think there's maybe one more. Yep. So everyone pays an electric bill, and when you sign up for community solar, you just keep on getting the electric bill. You don't have to sign up for anything else. And what Hawaiian Electric will do is we'll apply the bill credit to your electric bill. So when you see your electric bill, if you scroll down to the bottom of your electric bill, you'll see a credit that'll offset your energy usage. And Julie, I think I actually have one more animation here. I think you can click that. Yeah, so there's the bill credits going into your bill. So that's kind of the basics of how it works. There is a lot of excitement for us to get this program up and running as quickly as possible so that folks in the community can benefit from this. And we look forward to your questions and any thoughts you might have. So I'd like to turn it back over to Julie, and thank you for your time.
Julie, you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so I was just asking, so you have subscriber organizations, and then you have the utilities doing the bookkeeping, and then you have the subscribers, actually. Are those the 3 entities? Am I missing one?
That's the 3 entities, but I did want to mention too that there's an independent observer in the community-based renewable energy program that reports directly to our regulators, the State of Hawaii Public Utilities Commission, and the independent observer makes sure that subscriber organizations are operating, properly, that the program is running the way it should be. So that's really a 4th entity that I wanted to mention. That
and this is an entirely new program. We haven't done this in Hawaii before, right?
We haven't done this in Hawaii before, but we have a phase 1 that's just closed, and we're in the process of taking the lessons learned from phase 1 and expanding drastically up to over 235 megawatts statewide in our phase 2 program. So really excited to see the growth in this.
Yeah, it's a whole different concept. Thank you. So I guess, now we understand a little bit more about the new direction and new program that Hawaiian Electric is going in. So, for DHHL on Molokai. Okay. So just starting with our lands, these are our lands on Molokai, as you know, and I just want to point out there's a red outline area. And so we kind of, I had identified this area as a potential area for renewable energy development. And I want to hone in on that area so we can take a better look at that parcel. So this is the entire parcel that we just looked at that was outlined in red. It's 462 acres. And what we did on August 31st is we published a solicitation in all of the major newspapers in Hawaii, and we requested any kind of renewable energy projects to be some requested proposals for renewable energy projects for 4 different areas. We identified an area in Oahu, actually in Nanakuli. We identified 2 areas in the Big Island, one in Kaihai and the other one in Kailua Kona, which is this parcel that is on your screen now. As I was saying, it's 462 acres because Hawaiian Electric has put a cap on how much energy can be developed under this new community-based renewable energy program on Molokai, which is at 2.75 megawatts. The estimate is that it's only going to be a footprint of 20 acres. And so in that box, in the blue box in the parcel, I've kind of given you an idea of what 20 acres would look like on that property. And it would be, you know, it's not clear where it would be. They would do feasibility studies and whatnot to determine the best location. We're looking at this parcel because it is a south-facing parcel, which means that there's high potential for solar energy. The solar radiation maps indicate that this is a good area. And there's some access to transmission and distribution lines right nearby the parcels, so that's a good thing. And in our island plan, we've designated this land for general agricultural use, which means that it's not a priority area for homesteading at this time, and renewable energy development could be under this designation of general agriculture. Let's see. So I know this is just a conceptual schematic, but renewable energy development and the department getting involved in it is a little different kind of situation than what we're used to, because there's really the utility that's involved here, and there's a renewable energy producer that's involved, and then also DHHL. So I just like to explain this because we're not used to this kind of configuration where we have multiple entities on the table that we have to keep track of. So basically, we start with the utility, and utility, as you know, has to do, as I explained, has a goal of reaching 100% renewable resource energy by 2045. And the way that they do this is they're going to buy energy from renewable energy producers, okay? And they start with the request for proposals that goes out. Mahina was saying it's a competitive process. And you end up with what's called a power purchase agreement, which is an agreement that Hiko said, we will buy X amount of energy from this producer. So let's look at the second entity, the renewable energy producer. Now, what they have is they have the technology. They know how to produce renewable energy. What they need is land. They need a location to do it. They need a location that has the renewable energy resource. And of course, they need an agreement that somebody's going to buy it. So that's a power purchase agreement, right? So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for land where they can do it. They're looking for an agreement with the utility that they're going to have a customer to buy their energy. So we are the third entity that's involved. We are in this role, or in this situation, the landowner, and that's our role. So we have our lands with our resources. And because we are DHHL, we have beneficiaries too, right? We have the applicants that need to get on the land. We have our lessees that are already on the land. So that's kind of like our world that we're in. What we are looking at is to have a general lease agreement with the renewable energy producer. Okay, so we don't have a direct relationship with Hawaiian Electric, but our relationship is with the renewable energy producer. And so that's basically our roles and functions and how things work when we're looking at renewable energy with 3 different entities. So the last thing that I wanted to review is okay, we're at the point right now where we don't have a proposal. We have a call out for proposals, but we don't have a set proposal. But if a proposal is received, I wanted to go quickly over the process so that you know that where you can still have beneficiary input. We're still early in this process. Nothing's a done deal at this point. And let's see if I can change this. So this is more complicated than it needs to be, but I just wanted to show you. This is the same 3 entities that was on the previous slide. And what this is saying is that each entity has its own process. HECO will have its own process. It's competitive. They boil it down to a smaller list, a long list, and a short list, right? They try to assess whether the company has site control, whether they have land that they can do the project on, and so they have a long process that they go through. The energy producer has their own process that they have to go through. They're trying to submit proposals to us, to HECO. They need to keep themselves involved in the processes for both sides. And they're going to have to do a lot of studies. They're going to have to figure out about the land, the characteristics of the land, and get a lot of permits and approvals. And then there's our process. And I guess that's the main thing about this slide I wanted to say is that, no matter what, we will preserve that beneficiaries will be consulted in the process, and that you're familiar with, like for instance, when we just sent the ad out. So we're actually, I forgot to put the arrow, but we are at this first box where we publish an ad to ask for proposals. The proposals still have not come in, but at some point they'll come in. And at that point, we will take it out for consultation, right? So you will have an opportunity to hear the proposals, to hear from the developers, to hear what their whole project. We are also required, because we're a state agency, we're required to conduct 2 public hearings on the island where the project is located. So that will be this is when the commission actually convenes 2 public hearings with the public, and of course beneficiaries can be involved in that too. So then we'll hear about the project, but eventually coming out of that would be a right of entry agreement, that could be converted into a general lease agreement. But they would still have a lot of work to do. In order for us to confer a long-term lease, they would have to have the environmental assessment done. This is Chapter 343 HRS. They usually go through a draft process. There's a public comment period. There's a final EA. There's all these opportunities for public input that beneficiaries could have as well, input in that process to look at cultural resources, for instance, or water, or assess all of the impacts of the project. So assuming that gets done, then we could be looking at a long-term land disposition. So I just wanted to go over that and make sure that you folks know that beneficiaries still have this would be a long process, and there's still a lot of opportunity to get involved and to help craft the best project possible. Okay. So that's a lot of information, I know, but we wanted to leave time so that you could ask questions. If you have questions about from HECO or us about process, or if you have comments about the site, we're still very early in the process, and we'd appreciate, we don't know this areas like you folks know the area. So if you guys could provide input on that, or also, it helps to know what are the priorities, in the community. We have the regional plan priority projects, which we identified earlier. Are those still relevant? Has something else come up? We want to be able to get the best benefit for our homestead communities in this as well. Anyway, so do we have any questions? Gigi is helping us monitor our chat room.
Yes. There are two questions. Sorry, I'm hearing an echo.
You're good.
First question. What is the protocol for communicating with homesteaders whose property are adjacent to the project?
Well, I know that the people usually the people that are, let me rewind, the land management division who handles those land dispositions and who relate to those people are usually the ones that contact them regarding something like this.
Okay, next question. Depending on the site chosen, could the developer request an exemption from 343? And does the department have a process for 343 exemptions?
Andrew, do you want to handle that?
Sure. The department does have a process for exemption from a preparation of an environmental assessment or environmental impact statement. However, our exemption process does not allow for this type of project to be exempted from a 343 process. So a developer would have to produce an environmental assessment document and go through the Chapter 343 process.
And that's because it would have substantial impacts that it's not an exemptable activity.
It would, our exemption, the department and every other government agency has a list of activities that are exemptable because it probably would have a minimum impact. These are things like buying paper clips, painting your house, repairing an existing structure, changing the roof, things like that, cutting the grass. So this type of project does not fit those type of minor impacts.
Okay, next question. Where is the location?
Okay, let's see. It's Molokai of the airport. This is the airport right here. Can you see my cursor? Hello?
Yeah,
Yes.
your cursor is visible.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is the airport, if that helps. And then the main road is going like this. The Mauna Loa Highway is going like this. And then let me see. Let's go closer. So, oh, I can't do that. I think I don't want a map. So, this is too close. So this is actually the road coming through. I'm sorry, I could actually call up another map. The person who asked that question, do you?
This is Cora. Is this Naiva project, or I mean, it's closer to, is it further in from Naiva location? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that Homestead correctly or not. Okay, I think I get an idea. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Cora is just down from MCC Farm.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, couple more questions in the chat box. Do the homestead associations have to comply with 343 as they request for a general lease?
It depends on what type of activity that the Homestead Association is proposing. If, like I said, if it's a minor activity, that is one of the activities on the department's exemption list, then the department could potentially exempt it. But again, it depends on what the proposed use of the property is. So it would be on a case-by-case basis that we would take a look at that.
Okay, is solar exempted?
No. As I mentioned previously, this particular project would have to undergo an environmental assessment.
What is the estimated cost savings or cost increase for homesteaders if the project is approved?
Hi, this is Mark Wong again with Hawaiian Electric. I think I could address that question. So it really depends on the first entity I mentioned in that chart earlier, that it's really up to the subscriber organization. We wanted to create a competitive marketplace where subscriber organizations will be tasked with creating the best value, the best benefit for the subscribers. So it really is up to their business model and what that looks like. And in terms of the savings, you would have to be a subscriber in that facility to receive the benefit.
Okay, next question. Does PV installation on an existing structure require an EA?
No, that would be considered a minor alteration to an existing structure. But for a large-scale PV project such as this, it would require an environmental assessment. But for a modification to an individual homestead lessee's residence, no, it would not require an environmental assessment.
Okay, next question. How is DHHL incorporating or including the homestead associations within this process? For example, are there any requirements that the energy producers have to involve homestead associations aside from the beneficiary consultation, or does it give preference if an energy producer or these proposals be submitted by a homestead association?
Well, I can say, having participated in different reviews of proposals, that it certainly helps if the project has made contact, that has worked with homestead associations, and that links up to existing homestead priorities or projects that, for instance, are in your regional plan. So that helps. If you want to call that preference, that definitely will get you more points in that process. We always try and encourage the renewable energy developer, to establish a relationship with the homestead associations, because they're going to be there for a while, and so are the homestead associations. So kind of, it's more than just a hit and run kind of community benefit. It's really establishing a relationship, to me, a relationship that will be, that will improve, that will kind of grow over time. And that, to me, is the best way to have that kind of your needs over time kind of being addressed. So you're like a partner. I think part of the question was, what if the Homestead Association was actually an applicant? Was that part of the question, Gigi?
Let me go back. No, it was more about preference. Does it give preference if an energy producer or if any of these proposals be submitted by a homestead association?
So because we're talking about renewable energy, and it's a very specific, it's a technical field that, while it's great if a homestead association would apply, you need to really have the specs or the minimum, the qualifications as a renewable energy producer. And those specs are also prescribed by law. It's in the statute. So that's a part. you'd have to have that renewable energy experience and meet those qualifications as well.
Okay, a couple more questions came in. For beneficiaries to truly benefit from this CBRE on their lands, the association should be able to be the subscriber organization or to work closely with the subscriber organization so that there is that direct benefit to that homestead association or community. Does the department support that?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, definitely you got it, right? That would be an excellent scenario and configuration. Be the subscriber organization. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Next question. When you talk about the priority projects of the regional plan, are you only focused on the top 5 or all of those projects listed? Because I think there's 27 or so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just asking, like, what is hot, what is not? I mean, what, that was, 2 years ago already. I know things change. Of course, we have COVID that's come in. So, I mean, what are the priorities now? If there's something that has come up in the community that could be supported by, like, a community benefits agreement, that's what we're looking for. We're saying, is this stuff still current? Are the new stuff that new projects or new needs in the community that we should be looking at when we talk with these renewable energy developers?
Just a moment.
Uh-oh, my Sari's going off here. Excuse me.
Okay, that's the last of the chat box. If I missed anybody, please let me know. Put another chat in the chat box if I missed something, but I think I got everything.
So I guess go ahead, PG.
Oh, I just was wondering, Cora, you have your hand up. Is that, you have a new question or?
No.
Okay.
So I just want to recognize that there are 2 people that are calling in on the phone. If you folks on the phone wanted to ask a question or make a comment, now would be a good time. So the phone number 321-9825 if you wanted to ask a question or make a comment, you can right now.
There's 2 calls.
Yeah. Or the person with the phone number 646-0051. If you wanted to ask a question, you can right now.
Well, that's right, because they can't input in the chat box.
Actually, I think that's Cora's number.
Well, you recognize that number, huh?
Okay. She's eager to participate.
No, I'm
good energy.
My phone isn't on, so I'm weird. It's weird. So no question. Thank you.
Okay. A new one popped up in the chat box. If homesteaders cannot benefit from this project unless we become a subscriber organization, what are the other benefits?
Well, there's the lease rent that we would be charging for the use of the land. That would be revenue, basically. But they would also, it's called a community benefits package. It's we have some leverage when we're negotiating the terms of the lease, and so we like to say, look, we have beneficiaries that we need to be working for. So we look at negotiating a community benefits agreement, which would say which would establish some kind of fee or percentage share, percentage that they would give to our communities to do XYZ project or whatever. So, there would be a way that we could get it through the negotiation of the general lease agreement.
So this is Gigi. I'm gonna take off my chat box monitor hat and put on my planner hat. So in terms of community benefits, it can be a wide range of things. Any development, the department can negotiate community benefits. So that would be things like there could be outright cash that can be distributed to the homesteads. There could be jobs, a certain percentage of the jobs or subcontracts in a development project can go to homesteads. There could be technical assistance. There could be equipment. If a developer is going to have all this equipment on island, we can negotiate. That's why we need to know what are the community projects, so we can match up what types of benefits will help your community projects. I know one homestead on another island, they're building a park. And so the developer had offered to provide equipment since they were building their project across the street. So it's not going to take the developer much to loan out their equipment while it's on island. So community benefits really is a very wide range. And so that's where, as the department, the more we understand the community's priorities, and that's why we look at the regional plan as a first way, and we're having this conversation today, and we will have more conversations with you folks to better understand, what are the priorities, community priorities, so when we get to the table of negotiating with the developer, we can be a little bit more, we'll have the knowledge of the community's priorities and can match up benefits that are directly, whether they're cash, technical assistance, loaning out equipment, whatever. So I hope that answers it a little bit.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah,
It's
Gigi?
Becca from Hawaiian
ahead.
Electric. I also just wanted to add that as part of the program, you don't have to be a subscriber organization. You can also just be a subscriber. And as Mark had pointed out in his presentation, that's where you would receive a credit on your bill that would lower your electric bill every month. So it's also an option to just be a subscriber in the program versus a subscriber organization.
Yes, thank you for that clarification.
Okay. A few more popped up in the chat box here. Okay. And if we do not subscribe, then are we free to go off grid if we want?
Hi, everyone. This is Lonnie Shinsato. I can try and take a stab at this question. So, we don't have any prohibition against customers going off grid. That said, if we're going to reach the 100% renewable goal that I think we all want to do as a state and as a community, we really need everybody to do it together. So we always encourage our customers to stay on the grid because we're going to need all the renewable systems to be integrated so that we can operate the system most effectively and at a low cost for everyone in that kind of a future.
That makes sense.
Okay. Would the department support enough rooftop solar to meet the call for power instead of open undeveloped land?
I mean, It makes a lot of sense that if we could integrate all of the rooftops, but I'm not the expert in this field, so I don't know if anybody has, maybe somebody from Hawaiian Electric can look at that. Say the question again, Gigi.
Would the department support enough rooftop solar to meet the call for power instead of, I'm assuming instead of developing open land?
Hi, this is Becca from Hawaiian Electric again. So in this solicitation, the smallest size project that we're looking at is it has to be above 250 kilowatts. So in this solicitation, we're not looking for an aggregated solution of multiple rooftops. So if there was a really large roof somewhere that we could, fit that size of project, then that would be allowed. But the way that this particular solicitation is set up, it's looking for one point of interconnection from the projects that are at least, as I mentioned, 250 kilowatts or bigger for these projects.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not sure if that quite answered the person's question, because the question was a question about whether the department would support rooftop solar. Under the department's current program that Julie had mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, right now the lessee would be responsible for the cost to install the rooftop solar. And I think many of our lessees across the state might not have the finances to put PV on the system. So this was an opportunity. The community-based renewable energy program that HECO has come up with is to look at ways that could benefit some of our beneficiaries who might not be able to afford rooftop solar. And it would also allow the department to provide that benefit to beneficiaries without the beneficiaries having to finance the cost of a PV system on their rooftop. Also, additionally, it would not be at any cost to the department, which would allow us to use revenue to produce more homestead lots for those on the wait list.
Okay. Next question. What is the lease rent cost per year?
That's a negotiated agreement depending on, the fair market value of the land and what's being offered. It ranges.
Okay, so we're saying we don't know at this time until we know who the final developer is, and then we negotiate the lease, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember,
Okay.
there's also another entity on the table, and so they have to, negotiate a power purchase agreement. So it's a lot of moving parts, variables.
Okay. The current property chosen looks to be costly to develop. Would the department be open to alternative sites?
Suggestion, what sites are you would they be suggesting? I mean, I think this kind of information from our beneficiaries is very important and very relevant. If they think that there's another area that would be even better, by all means, let us know.
Okay. I'm hoping that those community benefits package will be fleshed out during the beneficiary consultation phase of this process.
Yes, that would be our hope too. That's what we try to do so that we can take it out and get your input on it. Yes.
Okay, next question. Let's make a deal. Community benefits. Does the CBRE have any issues with that, or is that strictly between the developer and the department and community?
Yeah.
That's us, right? That would be the department.
relationships of the different entities, right? So
Yep.
that would be something that's between us and the developer, and it's with respect to our the negotiated general lease, the lease of the land. I don't know if somebody from Hawaiian Electric could. There might be benefits coming out of your process. I don't know.
No, that's correct, Julie. It would be between the developer and the community.
We
I
do,
might have-
however, encourage the developers, and it's a requirement of any developer that would be selected under our procurement process to meet with the community. There's required community meeting, getting community feedback on the project, and trying to work with the community. So the developer does have community requirements, not necessarily community benefit, but we do require them to have a community outreach plan in place to go out to the community and meet with them to gather their feedback and input on the project as they're developing it.
That's good.
Okay, next question. I might have missed this in the presentation, but how long is DHHL leasing the property for this program? Is this a 20-year contract, 40-year, or does it depend on the proposals?
It would depend on the proposal.
Team for renewable energy projects has been about 25 years, but yeah, it could depend on the proposal as well.
Okay, next question.
And usually coincides with the power purchase agreement timeframe too. So there's that too. Sorry,
Okay.
Gigi.
Oh, no. Okay, next question. A project under the Kuleana Homestead program is exempt from this proposed project, right?
Is exempt from. They need to explain a little bit more. Exempt from what?
Cora, you want to jump in?
Yeah, can you guys hear me? Well, I think someone from Electric had mentioned about not wanting the more of customers, the less expense or less cost. And because someone had posed a question about off the grid. Well, the Kuleana program is identified to be off the grid, and it is part of a priority project. So I just want to make sure that we are not obligated in regards to this project proposal to be part where we have to buy into this project for electric or whatever.
Yeah, no, there's no
Okay.
obligation. Yeah.
Thank you.
Subscribers can be from anywhere on the island, I think, is the only requirement, right, Mark?
That's right. And it can go the other way too. Any homesteader can actually buy or purchase an interest in another project on Molokai.
That's right.
Yeah, so beneficiaries, they can choose to opt in or not, right? This is not a requirement to sign up.
Right.
Okay. 2.5 megawatt is large. How close to residential lots will this be?
If we're looking at this parcel that's in red here, there's not close by, residential lots are not nearby. These areas are being used for agriculture purposes, some pastoral purposes. So if you're looking at this parcel, then not very near at all.
Will the homestead associations be involved with deciding the lease rent cost?
Usually not. I think in the past, there have been sometimes when there's one community involved. We had one instance where they were actually with us on the table, kind of when we were talking with the developer. But basically, that stuff is established by through the negotiation process with land management division, our energy consultants, and appraisals, land appraisals. The commission would have something to say about it as well. The commission is a decision-making body.
Okay, next question. Besides being the energy holder, what is Hawaiian Electric's role in this? Hawaiian Electric will benefit directly from this project whose land is set aside for Hawaiians. How is Hawaiian Electric contributing to the community, the Homestead community?
This is Mark. Hawaiian Electric doesn't benefit in this program. The relationship is between the subscriber and subscriber organization. We just provide the back-end billing system to administer the bill credits and just administer the program. But there's no profit that Hawaiian Electric earns as a administrator in this program.
Okay. The next question is, they may be the storage, but so Hawaiian Electric is, as Mark just said, is the administrator. So you're not storing the energy, right?
No, as the diagram indicated, the electricity just goes out onto the grid as any renewable energy project, and then subscribers will be compensated through the bill credit system. There's no, if I understand the question correctly, mechanism where Hawaiian Electric stores that energy and makes some profit from that. It doesn't happen.
Okay. Under the Hawaiian Homes Commission Act, Section 101.B5, providing financial support and technical assistance to beneficiaries of this act, so that by pursuing strategies to enhance economic self-sufficiency and promote community-based development, the traditions, culture, and quality of life of Native Hawaiians shall be forever self-sustaining. Will the department, or what type of technical assistance will be provided to homestead associations who may be interested in pursuing proposals and or working with energy producers?
We don't really have technical assistance along those lines, Anybody else in DHL?
One of the community benefits that could come about from this project could be that type of technical assistance that could be provided from the developer, who would have more technical assistance capability than the department right now. I think this still is, there's probably gonna, and I don't want to speak for ECO, but there's probably gonna be more than one. I think there could potentially be more than one renewable energy project on the island, and this project could be the catalyst for beneficiaries to get involved and to receive some type of technical assistance. But it depends on what type of benefit agreement we can negotiate with a developer.
Is battery storage a part of the RFP?
Yes, so any project, solar project, has to be paired with storage to bid into the RFP.
Okay, so the developer is the generator and distributor, no storage. Is that right? And Miko is just the administrative. So will the subscriber have to deal with both?
This is Mark. Yes, there is storage. The developer's project does generate electricity. Hawaiian Electric's grid will distribute that energy to the grid. The relationship is between the subscriber and subscriber organization. So they would be your main point of contact. And we do have a CBRE portal, which will be the main way that you can sign up for a subscription. You can manage it. You can, you'll see what kind of bill credits you earn in that. So the portal is designed to handle most of the questions you might have with billing. But we do have a way you can still contact our customer service representatives if you do have a specific billing question that the subscriber organization is unable to answer.
Yeah, and just to clarify Mark's point, your electric bill is still with the utility, and the credit that you receive on your electric bill for being a subscriber is, it's credited to your electric bill with Maui Electric. So the developer is responsible for generating and storing the electricity, and Maui Electric's grid will still distribute that, and you still have your typical electric bill, and the credits will be through that bill.
Okay. The next chat box is a comment. The developer could provide education for solar industries work. So we'll keep that on our list of potential community benefits. Okay, that's it for the chat box.
Actually, the last question. So I think the last question they're asking, so do they have to do with two entities then? They would be dealing with the utility as well as the subscriber organization, or once the subscription is done, then that's it, then you're just dealing with your bill?
I guess as the in regards to the subscription, your main point of contact will be that subscriber organization. And then, like I said, the online portal for CBRE will kind of be your main interface, where there'll be transparency on what your bill credit history looks like. You can sign up, you can transfer subscriptions if you like, and that'll be administrated there. And then the subscriber organization would take your questions mainly about the subscription. But as Becca said, you'll continue to receive a Hawaiian Electric bill, and that bill will be, just as you receive one today, it'll be at the same rate that you're currently paying. You'll just see a line item giving you a credit through your subscription. And that's what it'll look like. And you can always call Hawaiian Electric if you have specific billing questions. But in regards to your subscription, you only have to deal with the subscriber organization. And just as a note too, if you're unhappy with your subscriber organization as well, there's feedback in the online portal, and that can be communicated to the independent observer in the program.
Interesting. Can I ask a question? Why is Hawaiian Electric limiting the Molokai project to the 2.75 megawatts?
That is our regulators put in that range for phase 2.
Oh.
So we designed the program around those parameters. The amount, though, does inherit, I forget what it was, 250 kilowatts from phase 1 that did not get allocated.
I see. Interesting.
But yeah, just to point out that it doesn't mean that one project has to take all that capacity. You could get, a small one or a series of small ones that we hope takes up the whole capacity. But it doesn't necessarily have to be just one giant project.
I see. Interesting.
Okay, doesn't look like there's any further questions.
Gigi, this is Alan, LMD.
Oh, yes.
Hi.
Hi, Alan.
Hi. This is Alan Llanos, Land Management Division. I was on the team that helped prepare our solicitation for the renewable energy projects. I wanted to comment on Sybil's question at the 7:41 p.m. mark. And, as you know, our information packet or the solicitation document requires applicants to be renewable energy producers. So by themselves, the homeowners associations wouldn't be able to qualify because they wouldn't be a renewable energy producer, but this wouldn't preclude them from partnering with a renewable energy producer or a developer, and that way be able to participate and submit an application. And then by doing that, that's when they would be able to obtain the technical assistance from their partner, who would be the renewable energy producer. So I just wanted to make that comment.
Thank you, Alan.
Okay, let's we'll take one more question. All I see is a question for Hiko, but I don't see the actual question. So if that person, if you want to type in your question, this will be the last one, because I know there's one or two more slides to finish up.
Oh,
nope. Okay, so Julie, you want to go over your next steps?
Oh, where?
Oh, sorry, Gigi, I was still typing. It's Sybil.
Oh. Just go ahead and ask.
Okay, the question is for Hiko. So I know at one time you guys had a moratorium on Molokai because it offset the grid. If this proposal goes in and you do the 2.5 megawatt system, how much rooftop solars will be available, or did you guys have future projections? I know I heard you guys doing things in phases, but how would this balance for the long term if there would be any individualized rooftop solar available after this project?
Hi, Sybil. Thank you for the question. This is Lonnie Shinsato. So we never meant to put a moratorium on rooftop solar. We did hit a point where because there's so little load and so much rooftop solar on Molokai already, that we were trying to find some technical solutions to be able to integrate even more rooftop solar. So now we are allowing it, but we're encouraging our customers to go through one particular program that allows us to turn the system off only in case of emergency. Like if we're kind of losing the grid, we got to do something drastic. We would need those types of controls. But if the 2.5 megawatt system goes in, it should be with a battery, and my team can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it should be with a battery. So after that system is up, we should be still allowing rooftop solar to come in through that particular program that we're encouraging now. And if not that one, then our next available program. I hope that makes sense.
okay, is that it? Gigi?
Yeah, Gigi, on top of that.
Oh.
On top of Sybil's question, the response, what is the program that is being recommended to go with?
Thank you for the question. I should have mentioned that. It's called Customer Grid Supply Plus. The nickname is CGS Plus.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can move on. Back to the slide.
It was just the last slide. Thank you, Gigi. Thanks everybody for the questions, so we can all learn from that. But I just wanted to point out that we have the website that is the same website that you access to get to this meeting, and that's where we will put the PowerPoint, the recording of this meeting, and also meeting notes that we will transcribe, which will include the chat questions and responses to those questions. So you can check that for more information. You can, and you know, we'll be open to, if you want, have additional comments or questions that you want to submit. I'm just presenting here our email address for the planning office, or you can snail mail it, either which way, but you know, the door is open for any more comments or questions on this. We can keep the dialogue going. Other than that, you know, thank you very much for coming to the meeting. Oh, did I hit something? I did hit something.
There was another question for Miko that showed up, just asking, can Miko send their link for these programs, and how can we access those?
I think I can help with that one. Oh, Lani, go ahead.
Oh, that's perfect, Mahina. I was going to say we'd be happy to do that. Our website has a lot of information about our programs on there. We'll follow up.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, you know, for folks needing more information, anything we've said, you can go to hawaiianelectric.com. And as you go through the tabs, it's got a wealth of information. So you'll find information on renewable energy programs, including rooftop PV. So that's always available, you know, and anytime you need more information, I would say go to that.
And I think we can put those links in the meeting notes for this evening, and we can also put those links on the DHHL website near where you folks access the link for this meeting.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for attending and for participating.
And Julie, thank you from Hawaiian Electric to all of you. Mahalo again for spending your evening. Chair Ayla, we appreciate the consideration for any of our programs. And Commissioner Helm and Councilmember Rollins Fernandez.
Thank you.
Mahalo again.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Aloha.
Good night, Andrew.
Aloha.
Good night, Commissioner.
Aloha. Gigi, good night, Gigi.
Okay, good night, Commissioner. Mahalo.
Thank you.